لله وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما. My dear brothers, we are continuing in Kitab al-Tawheed, the book explaining the concept of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the subjects which will relate to this important topic. As I mentioned in the first class, this book contains more than 65 chapters. And the first 3 or 4 chapters are almost an introduction which states the basics of Tawheed and the virtues of Tawheed and the meaning of Tawheed. And today's topic will be fearing to lose Tawheed. The Muslim should fear losing his Tawheed more than fearing losing his life. Because if you lose Tawheed, you lost this life and the hereafter. No chance for anyone who dies on other than Tawheed to have any kind of salvation or success in the hereafter. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated clearly, do not die except Muslims, meaning on Tawheed. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in His book, Allah does not forgive to associate partners with Him in worship, and He forgives what is less than that for those whom He wills. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about those who don't die on Tawheed that He will treat their actions in this life as a mirage on the hereafter, as dust. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَدِمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. That on the day of judgment, we will consider all that which they have done of good deeds in this life to be as dust, gone with the wind, as they say. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most just, and He will not waste the good deeds of anyone, even those who are not on Tawheed and who do not die on Tawheed. He gives them what they deserve for their good actions in this life. That's what they will get, because their faith, the wrong faith, does not make someone eligible for success in the hereafter. Because faith is a package, and it cannot be divided and made into sections. It has to be one, and it has to be taken all. And Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the most valuable thing that the Muslim must grab and hold to. And it is the most fearful thing to lose. Just like you should become so happy that Allah has chosen you amongst billions of people to be on the right faith in Him, then as much as you are happy about that, you should also be fearful that much of losing it, because this is the greatest gift. تفضل حياك. تفضل استريح حياك. تفضل. لا Now the author here has chosen the title of this chapter to be باب الخوف من الشرك, meaning the importance and the great obligation of fearing to lose Tawheed, to fall into great shirk. The title of tonight came in the most proper place here. Why? Because the first chapter was, what is Tawheed? And the second chapter was virtues of Tawheed. And then now fearing to lose it. And this is how one should give da'wah to others, call others to Islam. You show them the thing that you are calling them to, whether it is Tawheed or Salat or any aspect of Islam. Show them the meaning of this. And show them the ruling of this. Is it obligatory? Is it just desirable? And show them the proofs. If you say it's obligatory, who obligated it? If you obligated it, I don't want to be following you. I want to worship Allah. So show me that Allah has obligated it. Show me with the proofs from the book of Allah and from the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then, after showing the obligation, using the proofs, you help your brother to accept what is obligatory by giving him the virtues of what you have proven to him to be obligatory. Show him the virtues. If we are calling to Tawheed, show him the virtues of Tawheed. As the Prophet ﷺ says, he who says La ilaha illallah will enter paradise. And many other hadiths regarding this and verses from Quran showing the virtues of Tawheed. And then show him what happens to him if he does not fulfill this obligation of Tawheed. So it's temptation and threat, you see. Some people, when you tell them the virtues, they grab on that and they accept this obligation, okay? Some people might not be tempted by the virtues, but they get scared when they know the bad consequences of not acting upon Tawheed. So this is the point. When you give da'wah to someone, when you call someone, as it will come inshallah later, a whole chapter regarding the da'wah to Tawheed, then you use those three things together. We have, unfortunately nowadays, a group of people who think that calling others is just to tell them about virtues. Virtues of Tawheed, virtues of Salat, virtues of this, virtues of that. But that's not enough, you see. You have not shown those people if this action is obligatory or not, you see. And even if you show them that, you still have to tell them the consequences if they don't do it. All this is a package in da'wah. Now, regarding fearing shirk, shirk is the opposite of Tawheed, right? Shirk is the opposite. Tawheed is of three types. First, to have the faith in Allah's Lordship, that He is the Creator, He is the Master, He is the Ruler, He is the Provider, He is the Sustainer, He is the Nourisher. These are aspects of Lordship, which even the idol worshippers admitted to, as the Quran mentions about them. If you were to ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they would say Allah, and many other verses like this, which are very clear in Quran. And then you have Tawheed of the names and attributes of Allah. This is a necessary part of Tawheed. because Allah mentions so much of His attributes in His book. And those are mentioned because of the importance of this. The more you know about Allah, the more you love Him. And the more you love Him, the more you obey Him. The more you know about Allah, the more you desire His mercy and reward. And the more you desire His mercy and reward, the more you obey. The more you know about Allah, you fear Him. And the more you fear, the more you act and obey. As Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahmahullah said in one beautiful quotation, he said, there is a paradise right on this earth. No one will enter the paradise in heavens except by entering this paradise on this earth first. And then he described it. He said, this paradise on this earth is to know Allah, meaning to know Him in the right way, you see. And to, based on knowing Allah and His attributes, to desire His mercy and reward, and to fear Him, and to obey Him. This is the paradise. If you enter it, then you will enter paradise in the hereafter. If you don't, you will not. You see. And the third aspect of Tawheed is the Tawheed, the oneness of Allah's worship, in which most of the nations have not satisfied. Yani, prophets came to their nations to call them to unify Allah in worship. Not to prove to them that Allah exists, not to call them to the oneness in Allah's lordship, that He is the creator, not even to call them to admit to Allah's attributes and perfection, because they already had that, or most of it. But to call them to the worship of Allah alone, and to leave behind worshipping anything else in any form. And that is the tawheed of all the messengers. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. That we have sent a messenger to every nation. With what? With this order. اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. اعْبُدوا Allah, as Abdullah ibn Abbas, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, said, wherever it says in Quran, اعبدوا ربكم أي وحدوه. يعني اعبدوه وحده. اعبدوا Allah means literally worship Allah. But Abdullah ibn Abbas explains it as worship Allah only and do not worship anyone else besides Him. Because if you worship Allah and yet you worship other than Him, then your worship for Allah is cancelled. It's not accepted, you see. It's not accepted. That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned sticking to La ilaha illallah, which is al-urwatul wuthqa, as Abdullah ibn Abbas explained it, he said first, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. He who abandons all deities, all things which are worshipped besides Allah, abandons them, denies their right of being worshipped, and on that basis worships Allah alone, then he has held to La ilaha illallah. Otherwise, you will not be holding to La ilaha illallah. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, shirk is also of three types. Shirk could be in lordship, like the shirk of, unfortunately, some people nowadays who claim to be Muslims and yet say that some individuals that they look up to, they run the affairs of this universe. As one of them said in his book, إن من ضروريات مذهبنا أن لأئمتنا عليهم السلام مقاما محمودا ودرجة عالية لا يبلغها لا ملك مقرب ولا نبي مرسل وأنهم عليهم السلام يتحكمون في ذرات الكون. The meaning of this, that he is claiming that his imams, have a position that no angel has reached and no human has reached, and that their imams control every atom in this universe. So what is left for Allah? And this is lordship here now. This is not worship, this is lordship, you see. And he is making shirk more than Abu Jahl. Abu Jahl did not make shirk in lordship. Abu Jahl did not say that anyone is a creator besides Allah or anyone runs the affairs besides Allah. And we have this amongst people who call themselves Muslims. You see, some of the other extremes say that the wali, which is a term they give to someone who is so high in position to them, the wali can create a child with no father. The wali, if he reaches a certain stage, then his situation will be that if he orders something to be, it will be. Then, what is the difference between saying he is Allah and he is not? You are, by giving him this position, you are saying he is Allah, because no one has this position. No one has this authority, you see. That's why one of the great scholars who died a few years ago said that we have people nowadays with big turbans whom Abu Jahl is more knowledgeable about La ilaha illallah than them. And he is right. He is not exaggerating. He is not exaggerating. You see. So this is the shirk in lordship. To claim any aspect of lordship for other than Allah, this is shirk in lordship. Okay. Then we have shirk in names and attributes. To claim that a human knows everything. To claim that a human can do anything. This is great shirk. And you are giving attributes of Allah to His creatures. No excuse for this. You cannot say, well, because he is of the family of the Prophet ﷺ, so we give him this. How could you give him this? When the Prophet ﷺ was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ. O Muhammad, you have no share of lordship. You have nothing of lordship or of worship. You see, لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ. Because he was asking Allah and insisting to guide his uncle Abu Talib. And Allah told him, لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ. And in another situation, the same verse was revealed twice. In another situation, the Prophet ﷺ was cursing some of the idol worshippers. And cursing means to take them out of the mercy of Allah and not to guide them at all. He mentioned 3 names who hurt him in the battle of Uhud severely. They hurt him severely. And they also hurted him by cussing him and saying bad things and things like that. So he made a dua that Allah curse them. He mentioned them by names. Oh Allah, curse this. Oh Allah, curse that. Oh Allah, curse that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ أَوْ يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِ أَوْ يُعَذِّبَهُ. None of this is to you, O Muhammad. The fact that guidance is only for the Lord. He guides. You don't guide. Kicking out someone of paradise or the mercy of Allah is not up to you, O Muhammad. It's only for the Lord, Allah. You see. This is how Tawheed is important. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving it to the Prophet right in the face. لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ. Even though the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the best of creation. And he has the most honorable position with Allah. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this to him to show the distinction line between the Creator and the creature. The Creator only has the right of lordship, worship, and perfection. And the creature, even if he is the best, he doesn't have any of that. You see. And this is Islam. This is Tawheed. The author starts with the verse إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء. We mentioned this verse earlier, that Allah does not forgive associating partners with Him in worship or any other form of great shirk. And by that it is meant that paradise is forbidden for those who die on shirk. As Allah says in Quran, حرم الله عليه الجنة. Allah has forbidden paradise for him. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أبدا. Those who die on kufr and shirk, whether they are people of the book, Christians, Jews, or those idol worshippers, or whatever, then their fate in the hereafter is to be in hellfire, dwelling in there forever. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, ما من أحد من هذه الأمة. There is no one amongst this nation that I have been sent to, which is everyone. Everyone. Okay? No exception. No one amongst my nation who hears about me and does not follow me, even if he was Jew or Christian, the Prophet ﷺ says this, except that he will go to hellfire. So this is the meaning of this verse, that for someone to die on shirk or kufr, then there is no other chance for him. If someone dies with a lot of sins that he did not repent from, but those sins are less than kufr and shirk, he has a chance. We don't guarantee him that he will not be punished, because there are people from this nation, from Muslims, who will die on Islam, and yet they will be going to hellfire, and they will be taken out of hellfire. Many, many true hadiths, agreed upon hadiths. So no way to deny this, okay? And no way to take it lightly and say, well, sins are forgiven, you see. As a matter of fact, I read one of the books of those grave worshippers who claim that we have so much trust in Allah's mercy that we firmly believe that He will punish no one. Okay. This is denying a lot of attributes of Allah. The attributes of Allah in Quran is not that He is only merciful and loving, but also that His punishment is the most severe, and He is quick in punishment. He is quick in revenge. Okay. It's not only in Quran that people will go to paradise. There are verses upon verses that people will go in hellfire and remain there forever. As Allah says about the kafirs, وَمَا هُمْ بِخَارِجِينَ مِنَ النَّارِ. They will not be coming out of hellfire, you see. Dwelling there forever, you see. Then the next verse, the author uses the statement or the dua of the great messenger of Allah, Ibrahim al-Khalil, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he used to say in his supplication, وَجُنُبْنِي وَبَنِيَّ أَن نَعْبُدَ الْأَصْنَامِ. that, "Oh my Lord, save me." Now, who is talking? Ibrahim. Ibrahim. Ibrahim was so strong in faith and tawheed, to the degree that when he was thrown in fire, he didn't say except "Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil." Enough is Allah for me. You see. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Ya naru kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim." Allah ordered the fire to be peaceful and cool. Not only cool, but cool and peaceful. Ibrahim is saying, "Oh Allah, don't make me fall into shirk, and don't make my descendants fall into shirk." As one of the great scholars said, Ibrahim al-Taymi rahimahullah, he was one of the students of the companions. He said, فَمَنْ يَأْمَنُ الْبَلَاءَ بَعْدَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ? Who is not to be fearful of losing his faith and losing his tawheed after Ibrahim? If this is the situation with Ibrahim, then how about us? That's why the Muslim has to be very careful about his tawheed, and not to let his tawheed be shaken to the degree that it becomes so weak that it's subject to be lost by any incident. You see, because faith can increase and become like a mountain, and can decrease and become like a small little plant. You see the difference. A mountain cannot be shaken except by huge earthquakes. But a small plant could be even picked up by the smallest bird. Gone. You see. So your faith could be like that, and it could be like that. That's why one should be very careful. And actually, losing tawheed should be the most that any Muslim fears, because that's it. If he loses tawheed and dies on that, that's it. He has no hope in the hereafter. You see. Some people who in this life their hearts were occupied by things of the world so much, whether it is wealth or whatever, money or music or whatever, their heart is occupied by this so much. They cannot say La ilaha illallah on bedtime, on deathbed. They cannot say La ilaha illallah. A brother told us he was able